Hello, everyone. Let's get the party started. It's a Wednesday, and I know I always say I'm super excited, but I am literally so excited for this Facebook Live with a woman who I love so much, who has absolutely changed my life. So I just want to say, Laura, thank you so much for coming on and for everything that you've done for me and my nervous system. I love that you're wearing a Healers in Healthcare t-shirt, so we're going to rep that together. So Laura lives all the way in San Francisco, and I shipped that shirt out to her last week. So we're coast to coast here. So yeah, I see some people popping on here. So as you're joining, actually, let me say this before we even start, because we want this to really be interactive for you to be able to ask questions and comment and say, hell yeah, this makes sense. Love what you guys are talking about. I want you to be able to really engage with us and comment. So what you'll do is there's going to be a link at the top of this broadcast. It's going to say grant eCam live access for us to be able to see who you are. Otherwise, it's just going to say Facebook user. And I want to see who you are so that we can really interact with you and engage. So let me know who's joining. I see a couple people joining here with us. And let me know what state you're from, something fun about you, anything that you want to put, as I will be watching the comments over here as well. So yes, I'm excited. This is going to be great. Awesome. Okay, so wow, yep, we got a bunch of people joining here. Awesome. I will let you introduce yourself, Laura, because I'm done talking now.
Oh,
So go
thank
ahead.
you so much, Christina, for that. For your beautiful words. It's such an honor to support someone such as yourself who is leading such a big movement. And so, yeah, my name is Laura Larios, and I'm a founder and CEO of a coaching and consulting brand that essentially equips high impact driven founders, high performing executives, entrepreneurs, as well as actually client facing and go to market teams. So I also work with teams as well in the corporate industries and B2B. And I'm really helping them with cutting edge burnout prevention solutions. I think we all know that burnout right now is just very, very high. Whether you be an entrepreneur or you're in the corporate space or even just you're a mom, and burnout is extremely high. And so, what are some ways we can begin to help support you and your nervous system so you're not going into burnout? And so essentially with my coaching, I use a combination of mindful tech and bio data along with personalized coaching to, again, really help you as a purpose driven individual achieve your next level of personal and professional success, whatever that looks like for you.
I better be seeing some hearts up in here, like burnout prevention. Come on, pharmacists, let's go. I better be seeing some likes, some loves. Like hell yeah, we want that, right? I can definitely relate to that as well. Even it's interesting because I'm sure we're going to talk about this a lot. Like going from being a retail pharmacist to being an entrepreneur, there's a lot of that nervous system dysregulation. And so having those tools in whatever path you take, whether it's in, because I know that this group has a lot of different roles in pharmacy, or maybe you're a full-time entrepreneur, whatever that is, this conversation is really going to be nourishing and really helpful to give you some tools to really let you know that there are ways for you to have peace in your life and in your business. I think that's something that um, I love that you talk about, Laura. It's like having that business of your dreams without sacrificing your peace. That's something that I always remember you telling me. And it really is true. It's not that we're never going to get triggered or have a bad day. Today, my HRV is low. I'll call myself out. But, it's how resilient is our nervous system? Are we able to bounce back and be able to really, um, be with those parts of ourselves that are feeling whatever those feelings are, not just bypassing or saying oh, I'll put this on a shelf and deal with it later, because that actually drives us deeper into burnout. So anyway, I wanted to
Yeah.
just talk about that quickly. But what do you feel like you want to share first? Let's just dive right in. What do you want to share with us today?
Well, a couple of things. Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that, Christina, and just about your own personal HRV, and acknowledging, yes, that there's ups and downs. In particular, as an entrepreneur, if you are running a business, there's a lot of ups and downs in this process, and it's a lot of internal safety that you have to cultivate versus external safety,
Mm,
right? So if you had a, let's say, a 9 to 5 job, or you're a pharmacist right now, you're still working in that industry, there's the external safety of that regular paycheck, or like the health benefits, or whatever,
yep.
like the schedule even, right? You know what to expect day in day out for the most part. Whereas when you start to become an entrepreneur, and for those of you here that are in that field right now, or starting a business, it's not quite that way, right? You have to cultivate a lot more internal safety within yourself, because there's a lot of novelty and unpredictability in
Yep.
it, having a business. And so my real mission too, I just want to briefly talk about that, is my mission is really to empower founders and, organizations and entrepreneurs, and optimizing their well-being and their businesses. So this is also just about health. This is actually also about optimizing your business. Like, I really feel like the two go hand in hand. And so it's through a deeper understanding of your nervous system. So I believe that by providing accessible education and innovative neuro tools, we can help, I can essentially help founders and leaders to manage stress, improve resilience, like Christina was saying, increase revenue, enhance your overall quality of life. Because I believe at the core, by prioritizing your nervous system, you can unlock your full potential and thrive in all areas of your life, whether that be personal and or business.
I think what I kind of just like intuitively grip onto certain words or phrases. What you said about safety, and you've talked about this with me before. It doesn't matter how much money you've coached millionaires, right? People that are really successful, they can still be in a state of panic around money, and so it's that because we a lot of times we associate money with safety and security and all of that, and so it's that deeper sense of safety within that you've helped me cultivate to. And those of you who are watching, and I always say this, like, your wealth is within you. So of course, like, we need to have cash flow and all of that in our business, and it's that deeper rock solid trust and safety that you cultivate within yourself that is almost unshakable. That, like, okay, these things can happen outside of you, but when you have that sense of safety, it is really powerful. So that's why, we're going to be talking about the Empress Inner Circle today. And it's really, the Empress is, it's almost like a tree to me. It's like, you are, as the Empress, you are operating from this stable place, and you have these branches, right? These different revenue streams and team and people, but you are solid. And when you come from that solid place, that's how you sustainably scale, because you're not scattered all over the place. You're really able to hone in on that stability that you, as the CEO, the Empress of your business, are able to then create and scale and have multiple branches on that tree. So I just wanted to share that too.
Oh, I love that analogy, or that metaphor that you just gave, because, like, again, it's about being from a place of being anchored, right? I say that a lot with
Yes.
my clients too, right? You're anchored, you're rooted in something, so that when the storm comes, because that's life, storms are going to come in, you're still in one place, right? Like, you can weather the storm in a way that doesn't take you down, right?
Yep.
So it's really building that resilience and that capacity for
Yep.
all the growth that's going to be happening in your life, personally and professionally. And I think we all crave, on some level, like, growth, and we want to evolve and transform, and to up level in our lives, and all of that is going to require, though, the foundation of being anchored.
Yep. Exactly. And that's why, and we're going to talk about how you've helped me tremendously, but I wouldn't have been able to hold that type of conference without this work. I was used to having like 12 people at my retreats. I didn't even call it a conference, it was a retreat. And really, the deeper work that we did together allowed me to be able to deal with all of the things, because when you have a big event, there are so many moving pieces. There's a lot of things that can happen. You have to hold and make sure everybody's safe and taken care of, and having team in place, and all of those little nuances that really were required to have that successful event. But it all came from that stable nervous system state. So yeah,
Yeah,
so awesome.
100%. I mean, I'm so proud of you, Christina, like, because that was huge for you for sure. And we did work on some things around that because there's so many different elements of the goal that we want. Like we can cognitively have this goal of, oh, I want to scale, or I want to have a big conference, or I want to go and do a TED talk. But then there's the aspect of our nervous system, right? And so if our nervous system, for whatever reason, though, doesn't feel again safe within going into that experience, this is where we meet resistance. And so
Yep.
we had to get your nervous system on board for that vision in order for it to be fully executed in the way that it was. And also because you were being more seen too, right? Which for
Yep.
some individuals and their nervous systems being seen, like cognitively, like, yeah, I want to be seen, but to our nervous system levels, like, no, I don't want to be seen. So we have to get always the nervous system on board for sure.
Absolutely. That's really, like I said, you've taught me so much about that, and really equipping me with all of these different tools, that we're going to talk about, the HRV tracking, the algorithm based, like, rewiring the vagus nerve. Like there's so many amazing tools that I was like, whenever I was creating this Emperor Circle, I knew that I needed to have this nervous system piece because it has helped me tremendously. And for those of you who have ever been in any program with me, like I spoil you. Like I want you to have the best. So like Laura knows, I'm like, oh no, we need to add that in too. Like they need all the upgrades because I really, my purpose is very much aligned with what Laura is saying, is really empowering pharmacists and healers in healthcare to create that domino effect and that ripple effect of healing in the world. And this is cutting edge technology and cutting edge tools that, I want to spread to, healthcare, and through the vehicle of Laura, I've been able to do it. So really excited about this.
Yes,
So
yes. It's pretty amazing the ripple effect and the impact that can happen just on the clients that you're interacting with, your team, your relationships.
I think you froze
Our
there.
nervous systems mirror each other. So whatever state your system is in is going to have an impact on all those around you. So yeah, it really is incredible to see how you can change the world one nervous system at a time.
Wow. We need a hashtag for that. A quote for that. I love it. Um,
Yeah.
Beautiful. So, what do you feel like we should dive into? I mean, the different states, like the nervous system states. What feels aligned for you?
Yeah, actually, I thought we could start with an exercise first, before
Yep.
we get into like more learning, just to kind of prep our brain and our body for what we're going to be
Or
taking in.
learning. Yep.
Yeah, what we're learning, yes, and taking in. So, I think we're going to just do a really simple one. I want you to just take a moment right now to just notice your breath. You don't need to change it. Notice a little bit of your breath. And I want you to breathe through your nose. So you're just going to breathe through your nose, and you can keep your eyes open. You can look down. You can close your eyes, whatever's comfortable for you. And the next inhale you take, I want you to count the lengths of that inhale. And the next exhale you take, I'd like for you to count the lengths of that exhale. And I'd love for you just to notice which one is longer right now. Is it your inhale? Is it your exhale, or are they equal? Like, is the breath equal?
My exhale's always longer.
Ah,
I don't know
nice.
what that means, but
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Like your exhale was a little bit longer. Maybe for some of you, the inhale was longer. So again, just noticing. And then I'd love for the next thing I want you to do is I want you to begin to find the tip of your tongue in your mouth. So you're going to let your jaw just become a little bit looser. So you don't have to open your mouth all the way, but just kind of leave it a little bit loose. And then you're going to take the tip of your tongue and I want you to place it behind your upper front teeth. And you're just going to place it there. And then you're going to press the rest of your tongue up to the roof of your mouth. And I want you to hold here for roughly 20 seconds.
I usually yawn when I do this, but I didn't yawn today.
Nice. Yeah, so yeah, you might, like Christina was saying, you might have noticed a yawn just now. You might notice more saliva in your mouth. Maybe you noticed just a deeper breath come in. Maybe you noticed that whatever thoughts you had as you've been watching this live, maybe the pace of those thoughts changed, or maybe they even the content of those thoughts might have changed a bit.
Mhm.
Yeah, just curious. For everyone's going to be a little bit different. For some of you, you might have just noticed you just felt suddenly a little more present. But essentially, so by pressing the tongue to your roof of your mouth, just now you were engaging the calming cranial nerves, and also the tongue is part of our social engagement system of our nervous system. And so, by using the tongue, you were engaging a little bit of your vagus nerve, this 10th cranial nerve in the nervous system. That's very important. And also using, like I said, the social engagement part, which is signaling a little bit more safety to the system. So, yeah, I'd love
So
to know any.
anybody who came on my live last week, you should know that because I taught you about the social engagement center, and that's because of Laura. So yeah, awesome.
Yay.
Jennifer
Yeah.
said equal. Yeah, interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, equal. Okay,
yeah. Let us know in
beautiful.
the chat. Yep.
Yeah, let me know how you felt with that. And even if you didn't, it could be very subtle. A lot of these things that I'm going to be talking about, or I'll be sharing, and Christina's probably been sharing with you too, are very like incremental shifts. So these are like the 1-2% changes, and getting your brain to sort of just notice, like, oh, I have a slight change of temperature, maybe a
Yep.
slight change in breath, maybe a slight change again in the pace of my thoughts. So we're not looking to go from 100 all the way to zero. We're looking 100, maybe you went down to 90 or 85.
Yeah. I remember when I first came to you, I was definitely more in the hyper arousal, and you had me do some things that really helped. And you use that analogy, like, because I'm so used to going fast. That's how I was
Yeah.
wired, as it, my nervous system was wired. And so it, you don't always feel safe to slow down. Like it's,
Yeah,
when you're in that state, you always say the
exactly.
state informs the story, or the thoughts. Doesn't always feel safe to not be busy. So
Yep.
doing these incremental shifts, like you said, really was helpful for me as well, to just like put on the brake a little bit. Equal right now, but I'm trying to kind of focus on extending the exhale. Jennifer, we have two Jennifers up in
Oh,
here. Yes, I love it. Jennifer from Phoenix and Jennifer from Texas. So
oh,
very
nice. Hi,
cool. I love it.
Jennifer.
Yep.
Yay. Yeah. So exactly. So yeah, you like you said, your nervous system was a little more hyper aroused. So I'll share just a little bit about what that is and what that word is, because
Yep.
they when people here they don't know. So there are three primary states of the nervous system, and then there are three blended states. I'm going to talk about the three primary ones today and one of the blended states. So, if you were to think of the nervous system in terms of a ladder, so at the top of the ladder, we have the ventral vagal system, which is essentially your system of safety and connection. This is when our survival brain isn't being activated. We do feel safe on a physiological level, meaning this nervous system's not picking up any cues that we're in any danger, right? So stress chemistry is low. You got good blood flow here in the prefrontal cortex of your brain, and we all just know that a little bit of that feeling, right? We feel in flow. We feel like we have plenty of time. There's no
Yep.
rush. Like things are happening for me. The life is full of possibilities. That's that state. Then we go down one step on the ladder. So let's say something gets triggered. You experience a trigger in your day. Maybe it's an email, maybe it's something your partner said to you, maybe it's a client, maybe it's a coworker, whatever, right? You got triggered. So maybe now your nervous system goes one step down. You're not in safety anymore. It got a little bit of a signal of threat. So maybe now you're more fight or flight. So this is that hyper aroused state that Christina was just talking about. There's a highly mobilized state where the system is saying we need to move, we need to do something in order to get away from the threat. So that could be running, that could be fighting the threat, right? And so more blood flow then is going to drop from the brain down into the lungs, into the heart in order to help mobilize the system.
Oh no. Where did she go? Hold on. JK. Hold on. I got to get her back in here. Oh no. Hold on, guys. I don't know what just happened. She'll call back in. Anyway, so she was talking about how that's where I go, is more to that fight where you're getting really defensive, or like kind of irritated or agitated. I definitely go there right away. I'm like, let's fight, especially poor Eric, my husband. So when you're in that hyper aroused state, you tend to go more into that fight mode or flight. So you want to run away, avoiding conflict, that's, can be your go-to response. Then a step below that is the dorsal vagal. So hopefully she joins back. I don't know what's happening, but I'm going to keep an eye on my phone too to make sure. Hopefully she can get back in. I don't know what happened there. So the dorsal vagal is where you have so much going on and so much of a trigger that your body is trying to conserve energy. So what it does is it shuts down. She's going to talk about a blended state of freeze as well, which is where I find a lot of pharmacists live, where it's that blended state of the hyperarousal and the shutdown. So you want to move, but you can't move. So there's a lot of that overthinking, a lot of that ruminating, the analysis paralysis. There can be a lot of perfectionism and procrastination. So you don't mobilize and move until the very last minute. Oh, here she is. Perfect. There she is. Okay, I started to go into the dorsal vagal and a little bit of the freeze since I don't know what happened there.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what happened either, but yeah, okay, glad you kind of took
Yeah.
over the reins there, Christina.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, so you explained a little bit of the dorsal, so that's more of that hypo aroused, so you're feeling more tired, lethargic. There's a mindset or a set of beliefs that nothing's going to change or everything, essentially things feel more hopeless in this state, right? Or I just don't have the energy for it. And so in the freeze is that one of the blended states I like to call high functioning freeze, actually, because sometimes when we think of freeze, we think like nothing's happening. But actually, there's a lot that someone can be in freeze and still be doing a lot. And essentially, it's this blended state of the mobilization, like needing to move and do something mixed with shutdown. And so it's almost like a little bit of contradictory energy because it's like hitting the gas and hitting the brake at the same time.
Yep.
And a lot of the executives, high performers that I work with and founders too tend to go a lot into this state. And that's why I bring it up, because it's
Yep.
almost like they get the overwhelm, they get the procrastination. Like that's how it can also show up as essentially freeze energy. Imposter syndrome is an aspect of freeze. So anyways, I could probably go on and on, but essentially it's this feeling of gas brake, and it can be feel very frustrating when you're experiencing it because you have the drive to do something and yet it's not like you're not fully taking maybe full action.
Right. I want to highlight something that you said because I know that this is a challenge that a lot of pharmacists struggle with in their business. Like I'll hear a lot of people say, like, I'm so overwhelmed, I don't have time. So tell me a little bit about how like that nervous system state informs these thoughts. What does that look like?
Yeah, so great question because I hear this a lot too. So when we start to get the feeling of we don't have enough time or we're running out of time, that's a mobilized state. That's fight or flight, right?
Yep.
And so when essentially it's the system picking up on the sense of urgency. Okay. And so what happens in the body is, so first the survival brain, so the amygdala part, like detects a threat, right? And then and this it does this through various things, through tone of voice, through environment, through words that are used. Anyways, there's a whole process. But anyways, it gets triggered, okay, and then it sends a signal that okay, there's a threat here. Then the body picks up that signal, and then essentially sends that information back up to the brain. The prefrontal cortex then tries to make sense out of what's happening, tries to
Right.
form language around what this is. So it's the body's sending up the signal of there's a threat here. We're sending mobilizing energy through, and the brain's going, is picking up a file and going, we don't have enough time. That is what's going on here. When maybe that may or may not be the actual truth, but that is the brain, the rational part of the brain, trying to make sense out of the sensory part of the body and the nervous system, if that
Mic
makes sense.
drop. Boom. Boom. Everybody that's like, I don't have time, right? Well, and I want to acknowledge too, like I joke, but I
Yeah.
understand like farmers, like, you guys are busy. There's a lot going on. And there's also this at play. So I wanted to just say that, I love you all, But no, I hear that a lot with, a lot of clients, and I think that it's important to highlight what's really happening. And thank you for going into that, physiology of how the nervous system state informs the thoughts in the brain.
Yeah, and so if we've been wired more, let's say, towards some of that urgency, and there's different ways that this can happen. It happens somewhat in our culture, right? And especially with all this technology, it's like we need to go faster, we need to be doing more. And maybe, or as children, maybe we experience a household that was a little bit chaotic, or parents that they themselves were highly mobilized, yes, and busy, or maybe they were constantly saying, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough time. So your nervous system is absorbing all that, right? Because you're wiring to your environment, you're wiring to your caretakers, those that you're spending the most time with. And this can
Yeah.
also happen in school too, right? Like you're in the school, maybe you had a teacher that was rushing you or saying, hey, you got to hurry up, or we're running out of time, because their system was highly mobilized, right? And so we start to internalize these things, and then we start to kind of almost, I won't say get stuck, but it's like we kind of go into a pattern then of a lot of urgency, and then the story that runs through is, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time.
And then people cognitively are like, oh, well, I just need better time management. Right.
Yes.
That's what the cognitive brain is like. Well, I just need
Yes.
X, right, to
Right.
to fix this challenge, but they're not seeing that there's a deeper root to it, right? And like you said, it's that constant pattern of, I don't
Yep.
have enough time. I need to be going faster. I need to be doing more, which I can really relate to. So, yep.
Yeah, it's a highly mobilized state. And again, we need some mobilization. So it's not like we're saying we never go into fight or flight, or we never experience any. Like I said, it takes a certain amount of mobilization just to get on here and talk with you all and share these things. It's just the appropriate amount of mobilization for the situation. So like
Mm,
a lot of what I'm doing with my clients, and with like what I did with Christina, right, was like, we don't want to take all the mobilization or energy away, because then you wouldn't be able to do all the things you need to do as a founder, as an entrepreneur. We want the appropriate amount of mobilization to match the situation, so that you're not essentially going to then burn out. And like you
mm,
said, like the element around the time management, it makes sense, right? Our rational brain tries to figure out, like, okay, so how do we solve this? Oh, we just go and we, organize our calendar better. I need to hire someone who can take me through time management tools. And I can tell you from working with so many corporate executives who have been through these trainings, 80 to 90% of them go right back to the same, like maybe it shifts for a few weeks when they have some of these tools and they're implementing them, and
yeah.
then after a few weeks, right back to feeling no time, got the urgency, got the overwhelm, because again, it's at the nervous system level, it's not at the cognitive level.
Yeah. I love this work because it's really getting to the root of sustainability, because that's really what we're talking about today. It's, well-being, and how we are being in our business.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong. I want to say this to everybody. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing bad about any of these states. It's
Yeah.
just bringing to your awareness the deeper root of what's actually happening. Because I can say I've been in business for 11 years, and I have done a lot of different things. This work is so powerful because it really does get to the root. That's where we hold trauma, is in the body.
Mhm.
Jen, we just did a Facebook Live. You were on that, but on that Facebook Live, we talked about that. So this is really the game changer to create a sustainable business. So I don't know if you can speak to that a little bit as well.
Oh, 100%, Christina. I'm so glad you also said that. You're right, because every response we have makes sense. And I know Christina's heard me say it probably 1,000 times
Because
now, but like,
I love it.
every time you have a response to something, there's a reason why you're responding that way. Again, your nervous system is trying to protect you. It's not an enemy. So if you are noticing urgency coming up for you, or a lot of racing thoughts, or overwhelm, or a lot of fatigue, or feeling like I don't have much motivation these days, that all makes sense. So
Yep.
I love that you said that, Christina, that like there's nothing wrong or bad about any of these responses. We just merely want to look at, like, okay, so what could be causing some of this, right? So that we can help you not chronically live from these states, because we weren't designed to live in them chronically. That's the thing, right? And
Yeah.
so when we're looking at why nervous system work is so important, specifically if you are an entrepreneur or a founder, or even if you're, even if you work with a team of people, One of the first things is decision making. There's a lot of decisions you have to make. Even if you're still a pharmacist, right? There's decisions you have to make. And there's oftentimes a lot of complex or maybe high stake, decision making situations that you're faced. And so the nervous system particularly is affects your critical thinking.
Yep.
Like so literally it's like we talked about earlier, what I mentioned earlier, right? When we're in a survival response, the brain is going to go, okay, I need to conserve energy. So we're not going to put our resources right now to the rational, critical thinking part of the brain because we don't need that on right now. It's a highly efficient machine, our brain and our bodies. It's really amazing. And so it goes, we're going to pull all our resources and energy over to survival. That's it. Okay, so when we're triggered and we're in a survival response, decision making or our critical thinking abilities do reduce. Not all the way, it's still there, but it's like, it does go down about 50% because, again, it tries to be efficient with this energy. So that's why working with your nervous system is so important so that you can continue to regulate so you're not constantly living in a survival response and you have more access to that, higher critical thinking and decision making ability, which is so important. Also resilience. So there's a lot of, I don't care what field you're in right now, we're going through a time of a lot of uncertainty and change right now. Uncertainty and change are going to trigger the survival response within our brain and within our nervous system. Whether it's good or bad, the system doesn't see it that way. It just goes change and it, immediately, kind of goes like into a survival response. So we're really living in a time where we need to build resilience as well. And we do that through working with the nervous system. And again, because it plays a huge role in being able to manage stress, adapt to change, and maintain a feeling of peace, even as we're going through a lot of transition. And then there's the element of creativity and innovation as well. So if you are an entrepreneur, there's a lot of creativity and innovation that goes into that, right? And so it's how you create your offers and figure out how you want to impact the world, or maybe create something that's never been seen before. And all the ability to, because that takes a lot of energy and resources as well to be creative, to be innovative, right? And so if you're constantly living in survival, there's probably reasons why that's occurring, but if you are, and the system's more triggered in that response, you don't have as much energy or resources now available to you to be creative and innovative. And that is your moneymaker. You as an entrepreneur, your creativity, your innovation is what makes you money, or gives you abundance in your life, not just money, but also, connections and opportunities, right? So you need as much access as possible to that creativity and that innovation. And then there's also the aspect of communication and collaboration as well. So we become more successful communicators and have a stronger ability to connect with one another when our nervous systems are more regulated as well. And I think one of the last things I'll just mention too is adaptability as well. So like Christina was saying, right, like there's been a lot of shifts in her business recently, a lot of up levels. So there's been a lot of adaptability in that process. And when I work with founders or work with executives even who are maybe going through some aspect of accelerated growth, or maybe a team change, or new hires or new strategic initiatives, there's a lot of adaptability in that. So we have to get the nervous system to become increase its capacity for all the changes, and again, like adapting to what is going on.
I just got the picture of a rubber band. I don't know why. I guess because
Yeah.
it's like, being able to be like flexible, or even like the tree branch, back to the trees, like you don't want that tree branch to break. So you need to have that nourishment to be able, again, it all comes back to me, that you are the solid, like you are the CEO. It's energetic efficiency. How am I
Yeah.
using my energy? I want to give one quick example. I had a client who, got into a lot of those perfectionist tendencies, and it was taking her a really long time to film videos for this e-course that she was doing. And we did some work together, some inner work. And I actually did teach her some nervous system techniques. And she was able to, after some of this work, after a couple months, really take that idea to implementation and utilize her energy more efficiently. And I think that is, we always talk about like ROI. What about
Yeah.
ROE, of return on energy, right?
Yes.
So how
Yes.
long is it taking you to have that idea and take
Yep.
it to implementation? Or are we getting caught in the overthinking and the second guessing? And like this has to be perfect before I post it, all of those things. And again, I say it with love to just point out that's why, at the same time, it could be like, oh, I don't have enough time because I'm redoing this video 50 times in order for it to be something that I'm comfortable with releasing. What if you were in that ventral vagal state? You were connected to yourself. You were able to bring that blood flow back into the prefrontal cortex, have that capacity, and be able to quickly channel something. Like I've created programs in a span of a couple of days. So to me, it's that, that energetic efficiency as well, that, we can be with those parts of us that are like, oh, like the perfectionism comes in or whatever that might be, and acknowledging that, and also using some of these really potent tools that we're talking about to help shorten that gap so that you're efficient with your energy. So that's really what we're talking about here. And that, I think, can really help probably with the time management, right? That everybody thinks that, oh, I just need a better time management system. It could really just be this simple. So,
Yeah, I love how you said ROE.
yeah.
Yeah, that I love that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so true. And it's funny how it's interesting. And of course, I'm not surprised by it because now I've seen it so many times. But I'm always a little bit surprised too. Like certain clients that I work with, when we start to do this work together, how their mindset really changes, their thoughts, their beliefs change. So maybe they came in with, I don't have enough time, or I'm super overwhelmed, I can't do this, or it needs to be perfect, whatever the story might be. And then through working with their nervous system, all that starts to shift for them. They start to believe, hey, it is possible. Or they start to notice they're taking more action on things that before they were putting off until the very last minute when they were relying on stress chemistry to push them through. Right. And
Yeah.
so, yes, your energy does get so much more efficient. And because you're utilizing your nervous system, which actually is a very efficient machine, and your brain is too, right? So as you're using it in the way that it was designed to be used. And I loved how you mentioned too the rubber band, because our nervous systems contract and expand. That's what they do. And
That's
it's
what
the
came to my
natural,
mind's eye.
yeah, I love it. The natural rhythm of the nervous system is to contract and expand. So it's not that all day we're in this or all day we're like this. It actually is supposed to have a rhythm to it. But a lot of people, unfortunately, and there's various reasons for this, are here. And so then when you're here, right, there's very limited amount of room then you're working with, being able to see solutions or be more strategic or know how to really connect. You have the energy or the bandwidth to even deeply connect with your team or your clients or your family, right?
No, absolutely. Sorry, I had a hair on my face.
That's okay.
Like all these things happening. She's my dog is like snoozing over here. Never happens.
Oh,
Like you popped up. Just like it's just funny. We're being flexible with the nervous system, right?
yeah,
No, this is really powerful, and this is exactly what we're going to be going into in the Empress Inner Circle. So, I want you to talk about let's talk about some of the things that we're going to be measuring, because
yeah,
there's a reason why, like I said, I'm having Laura come in as my support coach in this Empress Inner Circle, intimate, curated experience that we're going to be working with your specific nervous system to help you have more capacity to be strategic and innovative, to hold more wealth in clients, to decrease levels of burnout. So, talk a little bit about what that's going to look like inside the program. Because there's so many exciting things that I'm just like, yes, they get to experience this.
yes, yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited too. So one of the things I do with all of my clients, and included in this program, we're going to be it's added in, is measuring your HRV. So for those of you who maybe aren't familiar, although most of your pharmacists you probably do, but anyways, it's heart rate variability, and it's been around in cardiac medicine, for over 20, 30 years, and so essentially it's measuring your nervous system, it's measuring your autonomic nervous system, right? So when I'm working with clients, this is one tool that I use to kind of help me to know if the interventions that I'm using with them are effective. Okay, so like it's an app that I've partnered with. Been with them now a little over a year. What's great is an app; it's not a wearable, so you don't have to constantly wear something all the time. You can just put your finger over your phone, the camera on your phone, say 55 seconds, and it gives you a score. And it asks you a couple of the really simple questions. The whole process takes about a minute. And then if you're taking it daily, you can begin to see how your system is recovering from the previous day's stress, because that's essentially what it's measuring.
Yep.
It's measuring the state of your autonomic nervous system. It's measuring your ability to recover from stress states such as fight or flight, for example. And the higher your HRV score, the more resilience you have against stress, meaning your nervous system is more resourced. It's more quickly able to shift out of survival states and into a more state of safety and presence, essentially. So
Yep.
again, we're saying like it's not that you won't go into these states, but it's like survival states, because sometimes you need to go there, but it's how long are you staying there, and how are you recovering from a day maybe where there was a lot of stress in the day, right? So that's what the HRV is essentially measuring. So when
Yep.
I work with clients and when I work with the leaders that are coming into the Empress Inner Circle, we're going to be looking at this for you and really looking at the data, and then giving you specific, like customized tools to your nervous system, seeing the patterns that are happening in your HRV, so that you have these specific tools so we can increase your score. And again, the higher the score, the more resilient you're going to be.
Mm, I love that. And so I love the fact that, like, again, this is a curated, intimate experience, no more than 6, 7 people, so that you can have this intimate access to Laura, so that she can say, Lauren, you're going to do this, or Jennifer, you're going to do this. And you'll have that intimate connection to be able to pop into the Voxer, and say, hey, I'm experiencing this today, or hey, this is my HRV, what do I do, in real time. So it's going
Yes.
to be so powerful, because again, I always use my own testimony of what I've been able to do. I would not have been able to lead or create, these t-shirts, this movement, anything without this work. So imagine, I want you to picture yourself 6 months from now, what you could create, the new things that you could create that will help your clients as well, utilizing maybe some of these techniques with your clients. And that's how we begin being healers in healthcare, and being part of that movement, is by looking at our own nervous system, really being able to be present and connect with our clients and create that domino effect in the world. So it's not only helping you, I'm now being able to help my clients as well. So it's just a really beautiful ripple effect that we're going to have. And then the other thing which we added on, let's talk about Mr. SSP over there.
Yeah. Yeah, so the SSP, so that's what it, so it stands for the Safe and Sound Protocol. So it's a algorithmic set of music that
Yeah.
I use with, like I said, with Christina and other clients, where the music is focused on a frequency range of the human voice. So what it's doing is it's helping your nervous system to interpret more cues of safety. So
Yep.
let's say again, like the nervous system, for various reasons, maybe has been more cued to look for signs of threat. Okay, and maybe because you grew up in a chaotic home, maybe there was a lot of urgency. There were things going on. We all have some level of it, and the system then kind of got more, let's say, programmed to look for those threats all of the time, right? And that, of course, over time becomes very exhausting and uses a lot of energy to
Yep.
constantly be in that state. So what this sound protocol does, what I love about it so much, because it was developed by Stephen Porteous, he was the founder of the polyvagal theory. So everything that I'm going to be supporting those in the Empress Inner Circle around is based in the polyvagal theory. And you're also going to get access to this safe and sound protocol that he developed that, like I said, is focused on the frequency range of the human voice, and it helps you to interpret sounds in a way that signals more safety to the system. Okay, so when your
Yeah.
system can then start to cue more safety, again, that's when the prefrontal cortex can come online. That's when your mindset begins to shift. You begin to see more possibilities. You just feel more present. You feel more like you have more bandwidth to take action on the things that you want to take action on. Oh, hi, Penny.
Yeah. He was
She's
literally snoring before, so I guess we was our conversation relaxing? Is everybody? Hi.
Oh my gosh.
Here's a little safety cue for everybody.
That's a great way
Perfect
to
timing.
perfect timing. So yeah, it's a game changer. So when you have, so again, there's going to be multiple things here. It's going to be through customized nervous system rewiring and brain reorganization tools that I'll be giving you in the program, along with measuring your HRV and same thing, like looking at the overall patterns of your bio data and seeing, okay, what is it that you need more of, maybe less of, and I can measure that through your HRV. And then the SSP, where you get to listen to this sound protocol to help, again, to cue your nervous system to more states of safety, so that you have more access to the parts of your brain that are going to really help you grow and scale your business sustainably.
Well, and I like too how you have certain questions that you ask to see which track to use. So that's going to be
Yeah.
really great too, because depending on what those answers are, you're going to curate that prescription. I guess pharmacists, you'd
Yeah.
love that, right? The prescription for what they're going to be listening to. So again,
Yes.
it's a customized experience for you to literally rewire your nervous system to increase that capacity. Like I love that the rubber band example, being able to be more resilient, more flexible, being able to feel that inner safety. Like imagine if you had just that level of peace in your business, that it wasn't always this chaotic, oh my gosh, like where are the clients or whatever.
Yeah.
Imagine if there was that underlying stability that existed for you, how powerful that would be. And then you could grow and scale your business from that place. That's really what we're talking about here, is that Empress embodiment. Again, it's not about perfection. It's about you feeling calm and grounded, you feeling spaciousness in your schedule so that you have more space for clients to come in, or new ideas or new innovations or whatever that might be. Think about it. If you are constantly busy, you don't have capacity to welcome in new clients or more money or whatever that might be. And so this work is really going to help you to expand that, which I love.
Yes,
Awesome.
100%. And I see it all the time. In fact, there's a client recently that I was working with. Obviously, you, Christina, you're putting on your conference. That was huge. And just
Yeah.
seeing like just the response even from the people at the conference who attended, and just wasn't just like the fact you put it on, but just like how you're able to stay present and anchored in that whole experience and continue to connect with them and engage with them, which again takes quite a bit amount of capacity and energy to do. And you were able to do that very well, and that's why I think it was so successful, right? Is because they really got to connect with your nervous system and got to feel your anchoredness, and then that helped them feel more anchored and more connected to themselves. And
Mm,
that's the power of this work. And I have another founder that I worked with who runs a professional services company, and essentially originally this individual, she came to me because her stress and anxiety was at an all-time high. Like it was just really, really high. At the same time, though, she had also kind of accepted that that's just the norm, because every high performer that I know just got a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety and overwhelm. It was just, but then she kind of reached a point where she was like, well, but I'm having difficulty now, like sleeping. Like I'm noticing that my creativity is going down. I want
yeah.
to start hiring more people, but I just don't feel like I have the cash flow or the energy to do that. Like everything felt very like kind of almost like she was hitting
Scarce.
wall after
Oh.
wall,
Hmm.
and scarcity and
Yeah.
challenging and like hard, right? Everything just started to feel very hard. So I worked with her nervous system over the course of, we were together 6 months, but I would say right at the 3 month mark is when she really started to notice, like really in terms of like big results in this from this work. And so
Yeah.
we were able to get her stress levels decreased by 50%. Was able to double the size of her team. Her annual revenue grew by 150%. And this
Wow.
was all due to working with her nervous system, because she already had all the strategies. She knew what to do to grow the business, but because her nervous system was in such a chronic state of survival, she wasn't able to fully execute or implement the things that she knew, that she
Mm,
knew how to do, essentially, right? Her system was saying, no, we don't have the energy or the capacity to do that. So it was like kind of holding her in a freeze response. So
yeah.
that is what I helped her with.
Wow. That story is so incredible, because I can just hear like different people that I talk to, and myself included. I was constantly getting triggered in my business left and right every single week, and so my energy was being sucked into that, into
Yeah.
managing. Or I wasn't managing it, but I didn't have the tools to be able to know how to navigate it or even attune with myself. So
Yeah.
I can really feel what into that story of your client, just always being in that high anxiety state. And you guys all know I'm very open about this, but I was on Zoloft because I was in the community retail setting, and I know it was just so much going on, the high demands of that toxic work environment. I came off the Zoloft because I'm trying to get pregnant, and I can honestly say that using the tools, that the nervous system tools and everything that we've talked about really has helped me decrease that anxiety tremendously, just even naturally, because again, you're getting to the root of really deep things that, I mean, even from childhood, like you and I have gone really deep. But
Yeah.
I can honestly say it's helped me tremendously, because now I'm able to realize and recognize, okay, like this is what's happening. These are the tools that I can use and be able to shift and have that resiliency, which is huge. So,
So huge. Thank you for sharing that, Christina. It's huge and it's so empowering, right? Because when we're in these cycles, like we can, again, it's not cognitive. It's like we get triggered, we get a response, something happens. Like maybe someone sends us like you said, a message. Maybe you send an offer out and they said no, or they not, or they didn't respond. And all of a sudden you find yourself just like ruminating about it, or feeling like all this tension in your body, or you're holding your breath, or you're all these racing thoughts. It's not
yep,
cognitive. It's like, again, cognitively, okay, no big deal. Like, maybe they'll get back to me. Maybe from the rational part of your brain, that would be like, that's fine, but it's not rational. It's part of your survival response. It's part of your nervous system, and we need to. That's the part that needs to be worked with, essentially. And I love that, Christina, how open you were to doing that work and to going to those depths of some things that were not always easy to go to, but we did it in a way too that felt right for your nervous system at the right pace. So we're not,
it's
again, we're not
calibrated. Yeah,
calibrated, it's
yeah.
titrated. It's not just like, here we go, we're going
Yeah,
there.
like
It's
push you off the deep end, Christina.
yeah, no, yeah, we gradually get you into the pool, and this is what I do with each client is I assess, where is your system right now, and what is it your system needs right now, because everyone is going to be different. Each of you has your own unique blueprint. And I think that's one of the reason why you're probably most likely looking into, or you are already have a business of your own, because you were in a paradigm where everything was very cookie cutter, right? Everything was like, you have this, you take this, you're experiencing this, you do this, right? And maybe for some people that might have been helpful, for others it wasn't helpful at all, and it was this very kind of black and white way of healing, let's say.
Yep.
And what I love about the nervous system work is it's not that way at all. There's it's very customized to you, so that you can really get the healing and get, like you said, get to the root of what is going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to brag on you for a second, because I literally, you work with such intention and love. I've told you this before. You are the best coach I've ever worked with. Like
Oh,
the different ways that you have shown my nervous system safety through gifts, through like recognition, and really you see people and you know what the medicine is that they need. And that is just, it is so deeply healing that I'm like, you're hired. Like I want my clients to experience this, because there is such a level of wholeness that I feel with things that have plagued me for my entire life, my entire 35 years of life. And you've been able to really be that anchor in my life. And like I said, that's why I trust you with $1 million. Like I could leave $1 million right here and she wouldn't take it. But in all seriousness, I just know that the work that we're going to do together to really help these empresses to sustainably scale is just going to be, it's going to create ripple effects in your life. Whoever joins, I know we have 2 people joining us already, and I'm so excited for the others that are going to follow. If you are interested in the Empress Center Circle, I wanted to let you know this. So before, what's today's date, the 7th, so before the 15th, if you book in your call with me, I'm going to drop the link after I pop off here. Book in a call with me if this is really calling to you and you want to sustainably scale your business from a place of ease, pleasure, and power. And before the 15th, I am giving you, as a fast action bonus, a 60-minute VIP session with me to map out your entire product suite so it feels pleasure led, so you're really excited about what you're selling. And we'll be doing some of this energetic work as well to really help to create that magnetic energy field that is going to have people coming to you and saying, this is the person that I want to hire. So we're going to be doing a lot of that work. And also, I'm giving my Pristine program. So if you join this program before the 15th, you get that for free. It's normally a $2,000 offer. So if this is really resonating with you and you're like, I'm interested, book in that call with me. I'm happy to connect with you. And Laura and I can't wait to welcome you with open arms. So thank you so much for being on. And I know people are going to be watching the replay and just getting so much value from this. So any last things that you wanted to share about?
Yeah, I think one of the last things I'll share, first of all, yeah, I'm just so excited for this program too, Christina. I think it's going to be amazing. And the different like organizations that I've worked with that have implemented the my tools have just been, just amazing, the results that their team gets, that the CEO gets. And so I just know it's going to be amazing. The goal of this work though, too, I just want to remind you, is not to be calm all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're just one little thing I'll add in there is like, yes, you'll be more present. There's going to be more of a sense of anchoredness, but it doesn't always mean being calm. And so again, like really actually the goal is to be able to have you experience a vast array of emotions, but in a way that feels manageable to you, a way that doesn't feel like you're spiraling or you're using up a lot of energy in order to uh, feel into those emotions or those experiences, right? And so, really, the goal is just to help you to be, like Christina was saying, more anchored within yourself so that you can be more anchored and present with your family, with your clients, and with your business, because your business also is another entity or extension, right? And we want to be as present as we can with our businesses in order to grow them sustainably. So, I'm
Mm,
excited.
I love it. Yeah, this work has ripple effects everywhere. So yes,
Yes.
thank you so much, Laura, for just, really everything. And yeah, we can't wait to welcome whoever's coming in with us to the Empress Center Circle. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, or if anything was like, boom, that was an aha moment for me. I want to hear, so let me know in the comments below, and I will see everybody on the next Facebook Live.
Hey, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.